Hi, today I'm going to show you this little script to make a quiz in JavaScript but using Python. So what this does is actually I got just one question in this example here, and it's this one, which is the capital of Rome, and you can put here the questions, and also you can put different answers for each question. And so you can answer, for example, what is the capital of Italy, and it's Rome, but I want to accept, for example, also Roma as the original name in Italian. So when you run this code, and actually I'm using Python 3.10, and what is the capital of Italy, as you can see here, and if you can put the question mark, and what is the capital of Italy, and here you get in Italian answer to the input text down here, and so it is Roma, or you can write also Roma or Rome. Okay, if the background goes to yellow, it is right. So this is how it works. So you get this HTML file that I called here Fabisogno. Let me change the name to just quiz 1, and it would, here we get the title, capitals, quiz number 1, and so you get here the title, and if you wanna put in English the little text, okay, this works this way. The Python is just this, and this is the add question function that is called here, and this function returns just the call to a JavaScript function that it's down here, that it's input, and in the input function, in the JavaScript function, I pass two arguments that are this one and this one. This is into a list, so you can put other question after this. Like this, capital of France, for example, and you see Paris. So if you run it, you get here Rome, and here Paris, and so on. And so this is, the question goes here, and then there is this iteration through each one of these tuples with question and answer, and so it will create this HTML, this JavaScript call to this function, passing the arguments with question and answer for each one of these tuple up here. So it returns this string with all this code that if you go in here you will see, and you will see this is the HTML file that is generated with everything, and you see here you get at the end there is some code here that I will show you soon. There is just the JavaScript that checks if the question is right, and it shows the input text and the question, and here are the calls inputs, the calls to the JavaScript function that is generated that is generated here. Okay, so practically Python just generates these calls to this JavaScript function and then puts this code, this JavaScript code, into the HTML file, and we got the style of the CSS style here, and then we have, if you don't want to make the user able to see the code where they are the answer, you can uncomment this so that you cannot, you see, you cannot, I'm clicking the right button of the mouse, but you don't see the context menu, even if I think it's easy to, okay, and so then, so we get, this is all HTML and JavaScript that is contained into this Python variable HTML. So to make the file, I just start the HTML string with the JavaScript code to check if the answer is right. Then to this code I add, after the script here, I had the calls to the input function that is generated by this code, this Python function. It will generate a string with this input, calls to the function that is this one. You see the function that it's inside the HTML string that will be used to generate the HTML file. It gets this function input where you create a table, and into the table there is this answer and press return. Okay, so we made it in English, and there is this input text where you have to put the answer, that the users put the answer. There is this check function here on change when you press enter, and here we get this printed and I don't know if I use this thing, this printed function anymore, because this should be, okay, if I want to use this soluzione, I must put a div somewhere, maybe I have to put it maybe here. Or maybe we can also get rid of this one. Because we don't use it anymore. Okay, so this variable, this function just creates this code with the table, with the input, with the question, and this is the final part of the input, and it checks if this if it is right, and it passes this as argument as this the input value, because then when you go to check, it has the object itself, the input text, the right answer, and this num that I don't know if I've used it anymore, maybe not. So here we get the takes this the right answer. There can have more answer, and so it creates a list of the different possible answers. Then get the user input, it's the value of the input text. Of the input text, and so then we'll check if this list of right answers includes the user input, that is the input text value, to lowercase, so it doesn't matter if you use capital letter or not. And then the input text style background becomes yellow, and instead it becomes red. And then it writes here the console log. This is just for debug. We can delete it. Okay, so this is for the wrong answer. Equal red background. Instead, this is the right answer. And it is got the yellow background. So that's pretty much everything. I think this is not used anymore. It was something made for a previous version or not. T1. What is T1? For index. Okay, this one. Okay, so okay, so that's the code. And that's pretty much how it works. So the title here, after you put it in here, it will add the questions from here, getting all the input call. Then we add this script to close this tag here. Then we replaced this title with title here. And then we save it as quiz. Maybe if you want to control the file name, you can do and call it capitals 1 if you want. And so here ff file name okay, so now the name is capital 1, and so you can use this one to change, to make your own quiz title and file name. So you have to change this, customize your quiz, customize your quiz. So to customize, you have to do this thing. You have to add the questions here, and or we can put it here so that all you have to change is in the same position of the code. Maybe it's easier to and we have to add here list command. Okay, so this is pretty much everything, and just one left start. Okay, so now the customization is all in here, and so here is the title, the name, the file name, and the questions are all in the bottom of this code, while the other things are in here. Well, this just returns the HTML, this HTML code, so we could also simply put it in here. Simply like this, without okay, so we just have this one, it's not needed. And so we have this two function here, this add questions and start. So with start, you create this HTML, you add the questions that just iterate through this list and put it in the right way, the input call, and then it adds this script after the add question. This, we close this tag, we change the title with this title, and we save the file, and we launch the HTML file to see if everything is okay. So it's a very simple script, and you could just put manually the input calls to this. It's nothing difficult to do it, and save it just as HTML without using Python, you may say. So it's not such a big deal to make every single file like this. You could do simply something like that. If you want, you can get this, for example, just to show you what do I mean. Make a new file, save this. Maybe you could prefer this one, and put here the questions and do input. Italy, Rome, Roma, and let's save this. Example HTML. output is not defined. Okay, there was just the problem of this slash that I use it for Python that JavaScript do not want. Okay, and so you can just make it like this, but and so if you don't want to use it Python, you can do this and change the here your questions. But if you use this, it's more, you can make more things like when you make an exercise or something where you can instead of adding each one of these questions manually, you could make them just randomly and choose and add the solution have the solution calculated by the computer. And you can also make in JavaScript, but if you find more easy for you to use Python, you can use this script to help you using Python to modify the code in JavaScript. So that's all, and see you next time.